Welcome, friends and family, to a February full of CommentForce. It's the month of love, and it's the month before the one-year anniversary of Switch, so big times at Nintendo. Hi, I'm your host, Zach. Gabe is here. This is CommentForce 48, and this weekend is the one-year anniversary of CommentForce, our first show.
Zach, it's not 48.
Really?
Yeah, it's 47, dude.
This is CommentForce 47. Keep the tapes rolling. We're running out of tape.
Okay.
This is CommentForce 47, and it's a one-year anniversary of CommentForce because the first show aired on February 4th, 2017. It's now February 3rd, 2018. But who needs numbers anyways when you've got guys and girls like you? Thanks for all of your feedback, your thoughts, your ideas, and your ability to inspire on the Nintendo front, and just as people in general. We're glad to have you. We're glad to be doing this for a year, and we're glad to announce that the Pro Controller winner is Gaming Tart. So Gaming Tart, if you could please contact us on Twitter, that would be much appreciated. This is for the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Pro Controller that we gave away a little while back. You are the winner. And if you can tweet us at the Switch Force, link in the description, that would be super helpful.
Awesome.
Now for our show, CommentForce 47, not 48.
No, not 48. Zach is from the future, as everyone can tell. But Zach, how's your week been? Do anything fun?
Man. I have this weird cardboard cut on my arm, and it won't close. It's like just the right width that it won't close, and it keeps scabbing over. But your arm, as I don't know, I use my arms a lot.
Okay.
It's just like constantly in motion. I talk with my hands. I'm always just, moving stuff, moving myself. Mm-hmm. And so it's right below my wrist.
Okay.
And I got it carrying a box out of my house, and it just keeps reopening. And it really freaks me out because I can see the scab forming, and it looks like human thread. It looks like someone I always look at it, I'm like, am I real? Am I a stuffed animal? Am I denaturing? What's happening?
Are you going to pull on that thread? And guys, he's
okay.
lying. Guys, he's lying. He got it definitely playing Labo.
I wish I was playing Labo. Man. We do have some Labo comments, but no, I always want to pull on it, but I'm like, it literally gives me the heebie-jeebie cringies.
Okay.
So that's how my week's been.
Huh. My week's
Yours?
been full of Switch indie games. Played a few of them. Her Majesty's Spiffing, Dandara, just to name a couple. A lot of little indie games that people aren't happy with their existence.
You played the birthday game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was my birthday at some point. Yeah, that happened.
Everyone should know that Gabe got a lot of Toad plushies for his birthday, so he's extra happy.
You hear the resentment in my voice is because Zach sent me boxes and boxes of Toad plushies.
With that being stated, let's get into the comments. Portal Forever says, Nintendo dominated 2017 without the use of predatory microtransactions. Other publishers should take note. Thought this was interesting, that if you look at it, many of Nintendo's games are design philosophy-wise very forward-thinking, but marketing philosophy-wise, maybe they take a little bit of an old-school approach, and yet we saw last week Mario selling 9 million, Zelda selling 6.5, Mario Kart selling over 7. You don't have to be loot box man central in order to be successful.
No, of course not. And Nintendo's in a position where they do things so differently that isn't something that they need to do whatsoever. Of course, you see companies like EA having a really hard time, just
do you
with
think
the
that
backlash.
Nintendo ever does dive into that realm?
I mean, no one wants to hear this, but I think it would be foolish of them not to at some point. And they've done a little bit of it on the mobile side, but that's the mobile side. That's how you monetize a lot of that stuff.
Right, and they just kind of seem a couple years behind, like, hey, season pass, let's do it. Hey, online service, let's do it. So maybe 2021 is when we get that microtransaction love.
Yeah, obviously none of us want this, but
loot boxes, it's 2023, baby. Welcome to the future.
Yeah, although Nintendo is forward-thinking and a lot, they do also have some antiquated thinking, and, I hope we never see it. I'm not a fan of microtransactions and loot boxes like everybody else, but, I think at some point we see something.
Gabe, take us to this interesting anecdote from just a lonely old scrub kid.
Scrub Kid says, I don't own Zelda Breath of the Wild nor Mario Odyssey, and this is why. I bought my Switch with the day Splatoon 2 came out. Being a Splatoon fan since the day one when Splatoon launched for Wii U, this was a no-brainer. Alongside Splatoon 2, I bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and ARMS. Then I didn't really buy any more big games. I don't just play games, I complete them and it takes a while. Plus, thanks to Switch, I have discovered many indie games. Right now, the AAA I'm playing is Doom, and mainly because I want to complete every challenge in the online multiplayer, God. And I buy a game, and when I buy a game, I also want to buy all the DLC so I get the full game, which is why I haven't touched anything Breath of the Wild related. Doom, getting all those challenges in multiplayer, that is not a quick thing, and don't challenges get, constantly updated? And I guess the real question is, how long is this Doom gonna have a community on Switch? I mean, for now it seems like it still has it, but at some point you can't do that.
Yeah, I think that what I wanted to pull out here is just how he kind of, this is an example of someone we said, how could someone not have Zelda or Mario? Because you look at it and there's all these Switch owners that clearly don't have them. This was just a cool aside of he went with Splatoon, Mario Kart, and ARMS.
I wish I was like that, by the way. Just for if I'm playing a game, I won't touch another game until I 100% I'm done with this. As I hate calling us this, but as YouTubers, we have to cover a whole bunch of stuff and play way more games than the average person. And the fact that there's only two of us, certain things just fall by the wayside. And I wish I had Scrub Kid's dedication to one game.
That is why we are working on cloning me via that method of those recent Chinese monkey cloning, and there will be Zach 1 and Zach 2.
Okay.
And Gabe, you won't even know if you're talking to Zach 1 or Zach 2.
Oh, I'll know.
It'll just be seeing double.
I'm going to mark you.
Moving on, CS Ricky says, when Pokemon releases these numbers for Mario and Zelda and Mario Kart, we'll seem wimpy. However, by then these games will have sold a lot more, I think. If Pokemon can amass 9 million the same time Mario did, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Gabe, do you think that Pokemon, if it comes out this fall, in its 2 months, crushes the Mario 9 million or no?
No, I don't think so. 9 million is a lot, dude.
Even with two versions.
Well, we're assuming we got two versions. We don't know that for a fact.
No, but say there are two versions, is customary.
Yeah.
You think that they can push more than... Because, again, you have to consider that the Switch will be at nearly double where it was when Mario Odyssey released.
Fair point. But then, like Ricky here says, by that point, Mario is going to be maybe double in sales. Maybe it sells 18 million by that point. Or if the sold number is 9, does Pokemon have a chance of outselling that in the first 2 months? Yeah, sure. Especially with the two versions like you mentioned. But... Mario's pretty big. I'm not that Pokemon's not big. I honestly I struggle to gauge this. I'm not familiar enough with the Pokemon numbers to be able to speak on it. So I don't know.
I personally think it can. I don't know that it does, but I think it absolutely can do that, especially given the the expanded Switch user base at that point. It will be, in theory, 20 million or around there or more. So I feel like it totally could. I mean, Pokemon Sun and Moon were the fastest selling Nintendo title ever for the Americas. In 2 weeks, they sold 3.7 million copies in the Americas alone. Yeah. So there is totally the potential for these. I think it would be really interesting. Look, Pokemon Sun and Moon so far have sold 15 million copies, which... I don't know. Maybe Mario does have just such a... It's like a wonderkin, especially given the first year Switch. I don't know. We'll see. But I really I want to keep tabs on this.
Yeah, for sure. In the meantime, Eddie Perkins says, I'm not surprised. This game is going to be their handheld of the future. I think he's talking about Switch. Nintendo will drop a full-fledged system eventually. This will not last for 10 years. I love my Switch, but I'm not that. This doesn't even do 1080p 60 FPS consistently. You can't expect this to be relevant 10 years from now. I'd feel like still having a PS3 in this current climate of gaming. That's what he's equating it to. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I share his sentiment. I don't think that we have this exact Switch in 10 years. I just don't foresee that happening.
I just like his theory of Nintendo shifting the Switch into the handheld slot, right? So it's not that... okay, initially Switch, right, replaced Wii U, and they still have 3DS, but then eventually 3DS dies, and Switch replaces that, and they introduce another home console. That concept is just very interesting. The wrench in this whole inner working, though, is the Switch does both. So if the Switch is relegated to the handheld, well, it still can do home console docking. So are people even interested in getting a home console? I guess the only way would be if that home console was so much more powerful that you're like, hey, yeah, the Switch can connect to the TV like a freaking Game Boy Advance and GameCube, but who cares because it's the portable and we have something far more powerful that's putting out amazing graphics and amazing performance, dedicated, set-top box.
Yeah, if I had to make a bet, I think this is exactly what happens. I do think that eventually 3DS goes away, Switch becomes the portable, and yeah, you can still play at home like you mentioned, but I hope we get another console that's way more powerful because, I've mentioned this prior, but 4K is a thing that is being more widely adopted this year. And I'm not saying Nintendo's next console has to be 4K, but it definitely can't be sub 1080. At the very least, I think 1440p is something that Nintendo can do and still, be them because they like to keep costs low so that they can push the hardware for.
Well, if we're talking 4 years down the road, I think 4K then is totally feasible.
Yeah, but
right.
Yeah, just since they've mentioned that they're not interested in 4K, and who knows, 4 years is a long time, 5 years, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I do think that this is clearly what's going to happen. I mean, we could be wrong, but yeah, there's no scenario where 10 years happen and this exact same Switch is the one we're all playing.
Good thoughts, Eddie P. Mason M comes in with some Mario Kart Tour takes. He says, it'd be interesting if this was somewhat like Pokemon Go, except with more actual gameplay and less RNG. Maybe you can go to locations and do time trial races like a gym, and have everyone who visits that location compete for the best times. As for different courses, it could probably just randomize it per, quote, trial location. Obviously not going to be like this, just what I thought would be cool. The first thing I thought of when I heard tour was Go, kind of a, hey, you are actually going to have to leave your house if you want to have fun with this game. Obviously, it was successful for Pokemon. Why not try that same sort of formula with minor tweaks that keep people from trespassing and stuff? Maybe even keep the community alive longer as well, instead of dying as quickly as fidget spinners. So Mario Kart Tour.
I want to say that. It's not. I still see people playing it.
Mario Kart Tour as a get out there and go play type game where courses are housed within real world locations. And I don't think he's talking about an AR Mario Kart. I think he's just more talking about like, hey, you have to go there to like enter the tournament, basically.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna be honest, I kind of like that about Pokemon Go, and yeah, there were obvious dangers to it, but I like the fact that it brought people out of the house and got people just like interacting with each other again and things like that.
Sure.
So if Mario Kart can somehow tap into that in a much safer way, I think I would be all for it.
I like the idea as well.
Yeah.
I also wanted to point out with this sort of thing that it could happen, but do remember that Pokemon Go was developed by Niantic, and that is why it wasn't included in our discussion of this video when we mentioned Mario Run and Pocket Camp and Fire Emblem Heroes. Yes, Pokemon Go was the first time that Nintendo really went mobile, but it really wasn't Nintendo. So I guess they could adopt Niantic's sort of systems, but if I had to put money on it, I don't foresee this happening.
Yeah, I don't foresee it either. I just, it was a cool thought.
I am super pumped to see what Mario Kart Tour is, and hopefully we get to play at E3. Also, Cedros PL says, if it was everything, in reference to the 2018 calendar, including just Yoshi, Fire Emblem, and maybe Pokemon, Nintendo would collapse with their goal of selling so many consoles. There must be something coming this year which would lure new users to Switch in order to achieve the selling goals set by Nintendo themselves. I don't know what it is, but I am looking forward to hearing some news about new releases this year. For now, I'm waiting for Bayo 1 and 2, because I never played them. And Gabe, I wanted to bring this up because I personally think, even if Nintendo's calendar didn't include Pokemon, even if it was just Yoshi, Fire Emblem, World Ends With You, maybe a few more ports, I don't think that prevents their sales goals. I think that the lineup is already strong, and when you're looking to sell to new players, I think one of Nintendo's greatest abilities is maintaining their exclusive lineup as alluring throughout the entirety of their console cycle. So Mario Odyssey and Zelda are still interesting to people 3, 4, 5 years down the line.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with Cedros though. Like there is something else. Like I feel like that's a safe bet.
I agree with that for sure, but I don't know that if they did have a lame game year, I don't know that inherently limits sales that much.
It doesn't limit sales, but what it does more is it begins a cycle of panic in people, right? Because we've seen this before, where, you know, lame game year turns into lame game year 2 and 3. Like the Wii U happened, like that's still fresh in people's memories. So if software isn't coming out that's compelling for people, they're going to start to worry, and the word of mouth quickly changes. And I feel like the way you push all these consoles is with the good word of mouth that's currently out there. So you want to maintain that. So yeah, I feel like that's the only thing.
I think as long as there's consistent releases, consistent support, I think as long as the overall, you know, sort of mentality is moving in the right direction, you don't necessarily need a killer app because you already have so many. Yes, obviously it would bolster sales tremendously to have Pokemon or something like that. But I think Nintendo has set themselves up to sell Switch kind of regardless of what comes out, but we'll see.
Marky.
Take us to Marky, yes.
Marky.
Mark.
Marky. I like that name. It's such a good name. I like saying Marky.
Yeah, okay, Gabe. Your first child, Marky.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Tangent. How familiar were you with Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch?
0.
Okay, never mind that. This isn't a discussion we can have. He says, picture this. Instead of a stale new Super Mario Bros. Game, we get a co-op Wario and Waluigi game that plays like the Wario Land games. It could focus a lot on working together, and it could even have an interesting single-player option if you're alone. I think this would be a neat twist instead of just recycling the same formula over and over again.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. This is what I've always wanted. A Wario Waluigi game. I don't care what genre it is. I don't care what style. I just want the two angry, evil, awesome boys to get their spotlight, especially Waluigi. And yeah, if you want to do a new Super Mario Bros. That like crossed out the M and the L or something, and then, you know, had a W and W, like, dude, this I don't know how many it would actually sell. I can't really try and quantify the number of Wario Waluigi fans out there, but it would definitely be a major fan service moment if they came out with like, oh, new Super Mario Bros. Switch, and then all of a sudden, like, you saw like the M get like scratched out and a W placed over it. That would be a megaton nuclear moment of E3.
For us, not for the masses. Like, we'll like that. Like, the hardcore will like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the people watching the direct.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only issue I see here is that new Super Mario Brothers games, like, they sell so well. Like, I know they're not our favorite Mario games, but
do you think it could sell well if it just replaced Mario and Luigi with Wario? Like, does that prevent it from selling?
It 100% prevents it from selling as much, yeah.
You think?
Yeah, as much.
What if it's
100%.
still called New Super Mario Bros?
Wait, excuse me?
What if it's still called New Super Mario Bros?
Wait, can you call it that if it's Wario and Luigi? And Waluigi,
like Wario and Waluigi are the player characters, and like Luigi and Mario are like either NPCs or boss characters or something like that. So they're still in it. This is just like a spin.
Yeah, I feel like as long as you have Mario and Luigi in there at some point, like in some fashion, you'll be fine. But if you just turn it into a Wario and Waluigi game,
people are too fickle. Just come on, Wario and Waluigi are basically the same, except they're cooler.
No, I mean, I agree with you. It's just I don't think that's how the masses sees it.
Gabe, if you had to give me and you, like, our personalities, give us Wario, Waluigi, Mario, Luigi, who would you give you and who would you give me?
Wait, Zach, I know you're going to hate this. I'm 100% Wario. You're 100% Waluigi.
100%.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
We're not, there's no chance I'm Luigi. I can't be like a good guy. I'm a little bit mischievous.
Dude, you are mischievous. Like, dang. Other people don't know this, but you do have some mischief in you. You have some I don't want to say anger. What was I going to say? You have some underlying aggression.
Whoa.
You don't have a mustache, but
I could work on that.
Yeah, start working on that, dude.
I actually bought, if you go back to our original, like, Switch video, there's one video where I have a Mario mustache, so.
Okay.
I like this, Marky. Please write Nintendo every single day. In the meantime, though, Amanda M says about all the Labo love we've been seeing lately in the press. For me, it all depends on if the game itself is good. So yes, the Labo idea might be great, but what about the games? And I think this is something that holds true across any gimmick-driven add-on, whether it's Kinect, whether it's freaking VR, whether it's PlayStation Move, whether it's Labo. The game needs to be good, and that's my biggest concern because on a just strictly idea and innovation front, I think Labo is genius. I don't know that the games themselves hold up, and I hope that Nintendo finds a way to incorporate their really smart and amazing game design and attach that here, so maybe it does have a chance to succeed, at least critically, beyond just it's a great idea. Like Kinect, great idea, right? No one was complaining about like the new Kinect not working. It's just that the software wasn't interesting or enticing at all.
The thing to keep in mind here is that these probably aren't going to be games in the traditional sense the way we want them, right? Like we know that a lot of them are just activities. Like you can just kind of like play the piano. For the RC kart, you can like build your own tracks and things like that. We recently learned that through the press's events that they went to. So a lot of these things were tried, and press came away with it generally happy. If you keep in mind that this is made for children, like you and I probably won't gain too much from these things. Like we could probably have fun with other games that aren't this, but keep in mind who this is for, and I feel like that audience is going to be perfectly fine. I think that anybody that's our age or honestly anywhere above 18, and I'm not saying we can't have fun with it, but we shouldn't expect like that like Nintendo like magic that's in all of these games, like the gameplay and the whimsical like nature of it all. Like I don't think all of that's in there. I think this is just strictly for children.
I think it's weird that with all of these add-ons we mentioned, they always try to do games that are in a genre and style that has nothing to do with sort of the main idea, the main platform. And I get it. It makes sense. I would love to see someone or some accessory, some add-on at some point say, you know what, we're just going to do the same kind of games, but a little different or a little better or a little more, innovative. Why do we always get the casualized, like you said, like kind of like tools or toys? And I know they're freaking called Toy-Con, so 100% that's what we're getting. I would love to see at some point say, hey, let's find a way to make a Mario game with Labo. That, to me, why is Mario plus Rabbids so exciting and successful? Because it takes the traditional concepts and just kind of whips up something new and fresh. I would love to see that done with accessories, but in the meantime, Jonathan Matos, who looks like a freaking Nintendo employee based on his avatar. He's not, just to be 100% clear. Clickbait. Gabe, we said he's an employee. Yikes. I think Nintendo is hinting at a new DK. DK will be a playable character in Mario plus Rabbids. DK Tropical Freeze is coming to the Switch. DK has characters Nintendo has forgotten, like Kitty, Chunky, Lanky, Tiny, Swanky. They can make an open-world game with dangerous jungles, barrels can be traveling around the world, and Rambi, Squawks, and Engard can be transportation from point A to point B. Kremlins needs to come back, though. Are they hinting at a new DK? Or are they just using up DK so they don't have to actually make a game and it can still placate fans?
I mean, they're going to make a new DK. It's just, it's all time. Right? Do we get DK this year? Probably not, because there is, two other DK things happening. We have Tropical Freeze, and then we have the Mario plus Rabbids thing, like Comment mentions. We still get DK, just probably not yet.
I did, after reading this comment, begin to wonder if their insertion of Donkey Kong into all of these other titles is in place of a full release.
Dude, there's no way the Switch life cycle ends with not a new Donkey Kong on it. Like that, I just don't think that's feasible. Honestly, we're gonna get one, especially if this thing goes for 10 years. We're gonna need the games, man. I think we're getting a new Donkey Kong yet. Just, again, not this year.
I wonder if Tropical Freeze is a test bed for sales.
It could be.
Since it performed, it was a critical darling and a word-of-mouth darling, but sales-wise, it was okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Has Donkey Kong ever sold more than okay? And that's a question. I'm not.
Yeah, we'd have to look back. I do love the idea of Kitty, Chunky, Lanky, Tiny, Swanky all coming back. I'm all about that life.
I'm all about Triple Jump's comment here, who says, most great artists aren't appreciating their time. Good night, sweet Wii U. This is in reference to Switch outselling Wii U officially. We all knew it was going to happen, but now it happened. Do you have any parting words for the Wii U?
I love the Wii U. You know that. You know that about me, Gabe.
I do know that.
You know that I always sung its praises and got bashed for it on Twitter. People talking about the stupid tablet controller, and I was like, I really like the controller. I really like how the control sticks feel. I really like the little pad that kind of feels plasticky, but at the same time just has like this super, I don't know. I love the Wii U so much, and I love the library. And to me, the Switch being so successful is just so much vindication for Wii U fans, because we love what was going on, even when it wasn't the grandest.
And because they're bringing the same games over.
And they're bringing the same
games
over.
That's just funny. I'm sorry. It's just funny.
Yeah. I hope the Wii U's... I think the Wii U, honestly... I was reading an article about how the Wii U is very difficult to find these days. And I do wonder if... I mean, it's too big to be like, ooh, a collector's item. But I do wonder if at some point the Wii U kind of does establish a little bit of cult status. It kind of has it already. I just wonder if that really increases as we get farther and farther away from its death.
I don't think so. The thing that's preventing that, and again, this is funny, but the fact that all the games are probably going to be available on Switch in some fashion, like all the big ones, like that's going to prevent it from reaching that status that you're talking about. Like if there was,
well, and how far do they go?
If there was nowhere else to play, like Tropical Freeze and Bayonetta 2 and Zelda and Mario, like if there was nowhere else to play these things, then yeah, but that's not going to be the case.
Remember though, it's only a very small number of games as of right now. Tropical Freeze, Hyrule Warriors, Mario Kart, Pokémon.
Yeah, I mean, we're a year into the Switch life cycle. Give it some time.
Dangerous Omens game. Eric Maverick says, new game for Smash. Next year is Super Smash Bros. 20th anniversary, and that is a good way to commemorate it. As much as anyone wants to port it, I don't want Nintendo to be too dependent on Wii U ports, and Sakurai might disprove this idea. I saw a lot of comments this week about next year being Smash's 20th anniversary, and Nintendo consciously holding off a game until 2019 to celebrate that.
Yeah.
They really like their anniversaries, Gabe.
They do, but they can commemorate an anniversary by releasing a port. And we've heard so many rumors about ports at this point. Even prior to the Switch's launch, that was one of the things that Laura Kate Dale and Emily Rogers were pretty confident about, that there was a Smash port in development. And that it's going to be like an ultimate version. It's not going to be like brand new, but there will be new characters, new stages. So I think it's going to be not a full sequel, but it's also not going to be like a regular port. They're saying maybe even a little bit than Mario Kart 8, having the new modes. They're saying that this might have a little bit extra stuff than that. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a hybrid of both, honestly. I don't know what you end up calling it, but
yeah, I don't think it. I don't know. I saw one comment that said, isn't Smash Brothers always just kind of like iterative? Like some new characters, some new stages.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a very clear distinction between a new game and a port with extras. But I don't know that necessarily porting the Wii U version, cleaning up the graphics, and adding characters and stages, like, to me, that's perfectly great. In this instance, I feel like if it was Mario's 20th anniversary, then yes. I don't know that Nintendo is beholden to the 20th anniversary of Smash Bros.
We'll have to wait and see, and we'll know at some point, right? E3 is getting closer and closer, so if it's going to get mentioned, that's going to be where.
I wanted to talk about E3 security. It makes me nervous, especially with Labo.
It always makes you nervous. Last year,
what if someone? Okay, it did, but what if someone Labo's around at E3? What if someone brings in a fake Labo that really has a bunch of killer bees inside of it, and then they remote control drive it into the center of the Nintendo booth and unleash the bees?
All right, so I've been at E3 with you, 4 years now? Or 3 years, something like that?
Yeah, I think 3.
Every year you've been worried, and every year I tell you, Zach, it's going to be fine, and it ends up being fine. I think you just build these things up in your head a little bit.
I do think security steps up this year, though.
Oh, yeah,
There's a lot of complaints about it last year.
Yeah. I think we're going to be all right.
And remember, we saw all of those people who just, somehow got in with no badge whatsoever.
Yeah, and especially since it's open to the public again. This is not a time to talk about E3, but
let's talk about Legos, baby.
The Ultimato, great name.
I'm going to give you an ultimatum.
Don't. They're
read this comment now or you're fired.
God, they're like Legos, except they're fun after you build them.
That's Labo. That's the tagline. They're like Legos, except fun after you build them.
Yeah, with the press getting their hands on Labo, some people were saying that it can take up to an hour to make some of those, the fishing rod, the more intricate ones that have string and things like that. The toy car, I believe they said, just took 10 minutes, or one of those, I forgot which one. But building them is actually going to take a while. So, and then once you do build them, you have the satisfaction of being able to use them in the game. So you're right, Ultimatum. You're right.
I like that idea, and I really want to play Labo. And I was debating finding a small child to convince Nintendo that I was a parent. But
I could address this small child for you.
Gabe, you're a good small child.
I'm the best.
There's this episode of Steve Brule, check it out, where he talks to a baby, and he wants the baby to talk to him, and he just doesn't. And that's how I picture you interacting with children, just like, okay. Okay.
All right, we got a Steve Brule reference for all you fans out there.
K-Lo says, let's face it, the Switch in particular and Nintendo have placed themselves in a new innovative way of gaming. The new way they brought Zelda and Mario, I feel only Ubisoft with Rabbids and Mario raised the challenge of thinking of new things to bring to a new game. That was great. I don't feel like EA and Activision have a CEO or people who make decisions with game development brains. They are too busy thinking about microtransactions rather than a great game. So for them to bring a new experience to Switch that isn't just a port, I don't believe those third parties are capable with what they showed last year. Their business model, cough, Star Wars Battlefront 2, cough, Destiny, cough, Shadow of War. We talk a lot about how Ubisoft took advantage of Nintendo's IP and the Switch itself and crafted a really great experience that performed well critically and at the box office. And by box office, I mean the office where you buy your boxes of games.
It's called Labo, dude.
The Labo is actually a secret Switch cartridge printing machine. It's a 3D printer that prints your own Switch cartridges.
Okay.
Hack Labo, and you can make whatever game you want. No. You can create courses in the motorcycle game, which I think is cool.
I just
Track
said
editor.
that.
Okay. Anyways, yes. So, are EA and Activision capable enough of taking advantage of the Switch?
Capable, sure. Like they're capable. Like they know how. Like, that's not where their interest is. Like I don't think Activision and EA care about Switch in the way that we do. Like they'll port some stuff, and yeah, we'll get like FIFA or hopefully Madden. But like seriously, what's EA even doing? Anthem, right? And the sports games. But what else like do they have going on?
Yeah, I don't know. And to me, that's even more of a reason. Like, hey, you got this platform that's sold 15 million units. Let's take a huge advantage of it. I don't know if Nintendo has as much interest of working with them. That's important as well. You know, Nintendo and Ubisoft obviously reach out. They have mutual rapport in the form of Miyamoto and Yves Guillemot, and obviously Davide is like freaking gaming Jesus. But does Nintendo have interest in making cool projects, or does it tie into the first comment of like Nintendo is very committed to a certain philosophy, and EA and Activision just don't really match up, and so they don't really communicate and they don't really see eye to eye. You know, we do expect EA to bring many of their ports over. And Faye could be it's multi-platform, but I could see it kind of being a little bit more treated like, hey, a Switch thing, maybe. Activision is the one where I'm like, I don't know how they fit into Nintendo's plans at all.
I said, what is EA doing? That goes double for Activision. If it's not Call of Duty or a licensed game, right? Like they do like they did Legend of Korra like recently, something like that, Ninja Turtles. What's the last cool Activision game? And yeah, they own a bunch of companies. Like I understand, like you know, Activision Blizzard is huge. Overwatch, you know, is one of the popular things, but they don't have incentive to make like any of these cool games, a la Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Like, why put something on Switch that might sell like 2-3 million copies? When we can focus on like, hey, the next Call of Duty is going to make almost $1 billion again.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets.
Well, then put it on Switch so it can make $2 billion.
All right, there you go.
In the meantime, let's take it to Sam.
Sam M says, why hasn't anyone else thought the reason they haven't announced Switch Smash is because they have a new unseen IP in the game? Nintendo said they have loads of new IP almost ready for announcement. Why not add them into Smash series early? That way, if someone were to wish a player to play as a character from the new IP, there's a chance it could be in the game, just waiting for the IPs to get announced first. Next year, at the latest, in my opinion, is the release. Story mode was the best mode on Brawl. I love Kirby Superstar because of it. A story mode you can play co-op and beat together. I want it. Otherwise, I may just stick with the Wii U version. I'm sorry, Sam. I don't think this has anything to do with why we don't have Smash.
I think Nintendo definitely has new IP prepped for Switch, but yeah, I don't know that they're correlated at all. It's a good theory and a good idea. Typically, I don't know that there's been like a lot of emphasis on new IP in Smash Brothers in the past. I do think that new IP factor into the new Smash, but ones that we've already seen, Splatoon, ARMS, I think those guys absolutely play a part. I think it would be a dumb look if Nintendo comes out with an updated Smash that doesn't take advantage of any of their new properties, especially ones that found home on Switch.
Do we think we get a new Nintendo IP this year that isn't Labo?
I'm gonna say no, just because so many of the rumors and so much of the mindshare seems to be focused on pre-existing franchises: Pokemon, Metroid, Animal Crossing. We know Fire Emblem's coming. I don't know that there is room for a new IP, nor is there like any indication.
Yeah,
I don't know. The one studio would be, what is Retro doing?
We don't know.
That I think could be a new IP, but yeah, I definitely want to play story mode Smash with you, Gabe, though.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we can do it online, right? That's the big worry.
Don't say that.
I mean, sure, I can play with you in person. Yeah, I mean, that's great.
No, I'm just saying it better have online.
We'll see.
Like, I don't understand why a game like Mario Kart, Splatoon, and ARMS are also online focused, and then Kirby doesn't have the option. And I get it. I really think it's because the philosophy of Kirby is an intro Nintendo game that they want people to enjoy from a family setting. I get that.
So then is the philosophy the same for Yoshi? Is the philosophy the same for Donkey Kong? Because those also...
Oh, I absolutely think Yoshi has zero online co-op.
No, I know. But I'm saying, is this the same philosophy? Is that the reason why we can't play Donkey Kong online cooperatively?
Donkey Kong is a different case because it's an older game, and I don't know how adding all that in...
They could have added it on Wii.
Straight up...
Co-op existed a couple years ago.
I'm gonna throw that one out just because I think there's a lot more at play, but I absolutely think the reason that Yoshi and Kirby don't have that.
Okay, so fine.
I don't know. Maybe Nintendo also has. What are Nintendo games that have online co-op versus online multiplayer? I mean, yes, Salmon Run is co-op.
So they need to get on this. Is what we're saying. All right, next.
I just don't think they view
next Donkey Kong comes out. Does it have online co-op? Yes or no? New one.
2D or 3D?
2D. New one.
Online? No.
It's a mistake.
I honestly, now that we have mentioned, I think Nintendo believes that co-op should be local.
That's fine.
I think just ideology-wise, they look at co-op and say, why would you do that online? Why would you possibly want to play... I mean, look at the emphasis on Switch local multiplayer as a whole, and then co-op, that is just such a thing that requires interaction. I mean,
why not just give the option?
Gabe, they don't even have really online voice chat. So,
well, yeah, I mean, we can use Discord. I'm not worried about that. Just give us the option.
Yeah, but they are.
Give us the option. That's all I want. Just the option.
I don't think the next DK has co-op at all.
I don't think so either, but it should.
I mean, I'm not even online. I'm just saying none.
Oh wait, you can't play with your friend just next to each other?
I think the next Donkey Kong game is not in the vein of Tropical Freeze and that.
Sure, but let's pretend it is.
But I'm saying I don't think it is. I mean,
no, that's fine. I'm not.
If I pretend it is, yes, then there's co-op.
But then is it? Make it online, Nintendo. That's all. Just give us an option to play with people that aren't near us. That's it.
I think, Gabe, since Switch Force and Switch are going to have a 7 to 10 year life cycle, I think we should utilize the next 7 to 10 years to build up our resumes, and then when Switch Force needs to have a name change to the new system, we go work for Nintendo, and we can implement all of these ideas that we have just harped on over and over again for 7 to 10 years of Switch Force, and then we can implement them in the company, and we will be heroes.
Okay. I'm down.
In the meantime, though, that's the show. So we have reached the point of the week where it's time for advice.
Do you want to go first?
I will definitely go first. There is a common saying that says, fortune favors the bold. The second half of that saying about being bold is spot on. The first half is 50-50. Whether you get the fortune or not, still be bold in your life, still be bold in your actions, and still be unapologetically you. Go for what you want to go for, regardless of the results, and even if you're not rewarded, maintain that train of thought. Just because it didn't happen once doesn't mean it won't happen again. Failure is the pathway to success, and you have to fail over and over again if you want to continue down that road.
Yours kind of is intertwined with mine a little bit. What I was going to say is to just not be afraid to try new things and try to maybe go outside of your bubble. We all live in a bubble of some kind, right? We decide who we are and we live the way we live, and we become complacent and just used to the way we behave and interact with others. So just try to be different every once in a while. Just break the mold. If you're afraid to do something, just do it. Worst case, you have a failed experience and you learn. So again, mine's a little bit intertwined with you, but don't be afraid to try new things, basically, is what I'm getting at.
What Gabe is trying to say is that he just can't wait to play Labo.
Yeah, 100%.
Try new things. Try new comments. Try to come back for CommentForce 48. Maybe I'll get the number right. It's starting to turn into Rebel FM. In the meantime, though, everyone, thank you so much for watching. We love you. Another beefy show full of organic beef, or in Gabe's case, good old hearty down south home cooked beef. We will bring you some more beef next time. Gabe, I think maybe you and I need a beef.
We constantly beef. People don't know about it. Wait, hold on. Let's not say that. People already think that we hate each other.
Look, beef is good for the system. It's good for your bones, and it's good for ratings. So,
can we manufacture a beef?
We could. It's like a manufactured rat beef.
Yeah, like I'm gonna diss you.
The Drake Meek Mill fight of 2018 is actually between Zach and Gabe of Switchforce.
But we're gonna revolutionize this. Okay. You write my diss to you. You write it, and vice versa. So I'll write the diss to Gabe, you write the diss to Zach, but then I'll just perform it and you perform. Boom, we're good, man. We're going places. Somebody call Keemstar, let them know.
In the meantime, go play your Switch instead of watching the Super Bowl, and we will see.
Or do both.
Play football on the. Wait, there's no Madden. All right, give us Madden EA so that we can inceptionize the Super Bowl in 2019. Until that time, guys and girls, thanks again for watching. This has been CommentForce. We are Zach and Gabe. Switchforce out.